Welcome to Esalen Live, where we chat with change agents and swim deep waters in an ongoing exploration of human potential. I'm Christine Chen. If you're like many of us, coping with burnout and wondering how to stop feeling this way, today's guest on Esalen Live may have a path for you. Jeffrey Williams is the founder of the Vitalist Institute. He guides people in practices that align us with ourselves, ultimately resulting in sustained vitality for body, mind, and your life. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Christine.
It's so good to see you. Thanks for making some time. I know you're a busy guy and on the road. You're joining us from Durango, Colorado. So we really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, I love being here. This is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I know. So what does it mean to be aligned? Because we've been dealing with this special kind of burnout through the
Mhm.
pandemic. Can you share with us what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, there's always a connection between what's going on psychologically and what's going on physiologically. So, on a physiological level, misalignment shows up as actually in the form of stress and how that stress downloads into the body and causes distortion. So there's a misalignment, sort of like when you think about your car, you want to get that car aligned so that everything is going to wear out evenly and is going to sustain the integrity of the vehicle. Well, the body is really that vehicle, and we're living and breathing in it every day, all day. And that alignment really comes from you can't really tell what is aligned until you know what's center. And so for me, alignment is really discovering what it is that's like the most inspiring action, the things that get us up out of the morning, um, that we'd wake up any time of day or night to do because we just feel so fulfilled doing it. That's
Hmm.
really what I mean by getting into alignment.
Are there some key components that make us feel like we're in alignment in our life? Like what are the names of some of those things?
Well, you know, often we look at values, and the way I look at values might be a little different than the normal consensus of sort of social platitudes, like we want it to be all peaceful or something. These aligned actions actually arise typically out of what we perceived as missing or void or lack in our development. So when we were growing up, let's just say, for me, my greatest alignment is when I'm teaching. So when I'm really like teaching and facilitating in the world, that's going to be the most fulfilling for me. And I have to look back and go, why is teaching such a high value for me? Why is it so fulfilling for me? And I look at developmentally, when I was young, I in school was pretty easy, but I also always had this feeling like, why are we learning this? This doesn't really create more meaning or more fulfillment for me. It's like jumping through hoops. And so I ended up feeling a void for meaningful education, something that really impacts me and transforms my life and the way I see it and experience it. And so I put a high value on generating the type of education and being able to teach and facilitate things that do. So that's kind of what I mean when I talk about getting into alignment and doing something that is inspired and is fulfilled.
That's simpler said than done. You're watching Esalen Live, and if you're tuning in on Facebook Live or just joining us online, Jeffrey Williams, the founder of the Vitalist Institute, is helping us get aligned so we can cope with this kind of weird burnout that we've been dealing with during the pandemic. How can getting aligned, Jeffrey, help us? And by the way, if you have questions, go ahead and float them into the comments and give Jeffrey a little love. So, how can that kind of alignment reduce burnout and stress?
Well, there's a real quick, easy correlation that we can all make in our own lives. When we start looking at the kind of activities that we do that aren't fulfilling, right? And so say it's for some people it's doing laundry or doing the dishes or going to a job that you don't really love, but you need the money. And there's a lot of ways in which we all are in situations where we have to do things that don't feel fulfilling. But the more that those things fill up our day by day life, the more burned out we're going to feel. Because if you ever notice something that you absolutely love doing, you does anyone really need to motivate you to do it, or are you inspired from within? So
Mm.
that's really the big difference is whenever I need motivation, that's a key reflection that I'm doing something that most likely someone else wants me to do, but I probably don't feel inspired to do it.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
we get burned out more and more the more we do those sort of things.
I think it's a really good time to ask people who are watching, would you write in the comments what inspires you? Just a good moment to really consider. Is there something that you like to do in your life that is inspiring? So we're kind of starting to feel our way with feel our way through what Jeffrey is describing here is like the kinds of things that give you more energy versus burnout. So
Yeah.
that's about right, though, Jeffrey, isn't it?
Yeah, they're the things that you'll automatically drive conversation to those things. You'll want to learn more about those things. You'll be willing to get up, and go and do these things because when we're inspired, we're inspired from within. That means we are going to find energy to do those things. So really looking at that kind of thing is like and you can find out what someone else cares about. And ultimately, the only way to truly care about someone else is to figure out what they care about and see if you can work together to help fulfill both of your guys' values.
And we just
So,
heard from Julie who says, I find my children inspiring. So
yeah,
with Julie's comment about finding children inspiring, is there a way to balance feeling vital when you're with your children or around your children a lot and also not burn out as being a parent?
absolutely. Well, I mean, as a parent of four, I know what it takes to maintain my own balance and alignment. And again, with kids, as a parent, it's so easy to continue to do all the things that your children want you to do. And as long as, if that's not totally aligned for you with what inspires you or increases your vitality or makes you feel alive, then you're going to burn out even faster. But
Mm.
one way, like that I share this with my kids is for me, I really find that I reset and I recenter by bringing my attention back to myself. And I do practices. We're going to talk about some of those, I think, but movement practices, breathing practices, or dance and play. And so I just find time in my day to bring my children into those practices with me or into those ways of living that with me. And then we get inspired together. We laugh more, we play more, we feel more alive. And that can really be helpful for me as if I can't get up early in the morning before my kids are up to take care of myself.
Mm.
It's easy to get overwhelmed and get really far out of balance.
Yeah, those are all really good points. Again, share with us through chat what inspires you and ask Jeffrey any questions about this. You mentioned movement practices, and through the Vitalist Institute, you have something called Edu, which is a spinal alignment practice. Would you share with us what that means, Jeffrey? And then also, I think I'm going to be your guinea pig slash model for this, right?
Yeah, if you would love to be, that would be
Okay.
great. So Edu is
Okay.
evolutionary spinal maintenance. And the the importance of our spines cannot really be underemphasized, right? The spine is really the connection from all of this that's going on in our brains and all that's going on in our glands and our organs, in our tissues. And so to have an integral spine and have flexibility and strength in your spine is really actually a reflection of your true age.
So,
And
what should
so
I
to
do,
keep your
Jeffrey?
Okay, for you, I want you to do is step wide into a wide open, stable stance. So, yeah, and turn your toes slightly out, and then you're going to sink down into that stance a little bit. There you go. And then keep your spine upright, nice and centered, like it's an axis. So, we're talking about alignment, right? And so,
Right.
in this way, getting your spine into that integral alignment so that you're centered in that spine, and then turn your hands up like you're carrying two plates. Yep. And then just gently turn left and right without moving your legs. So what you're doing is Edu isolates all the movement to the spine. Whereas in other movement systems like Tai Chi or yoga, we might be turning our hips. And one of the critical aspects of this is that you are getting movement in your lowest vertebrae, your lumbar. They're actually turning on each other. So you can kind of find a rhythm and you can breathe. Why don't you try breathing as you turn left, in, exhaling as you turn right, and you're finding that nice little rhythm. So the fastest way to sculpt our brains to actually impact our neural pathways is through rhythmic movement that's balanced like this.
If
I
you're
want to try to show
watching at
you.
home, can you join me in this? Don't leave me hanging,
Yeah,
honey.
join.
Join me
I'm in
in
a
this
I'm in a
as
spot where
Jeffrey
I can't
guides us
really do
into
it.
Edu.
But what we're gonna do next is I want you to come back to center now.
Okay. Are you doing this next thing, Jeffrey?
Yes, I can try.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is just slightly move this
Okay.
and see if I can get this to work without
This is
dropping the
also
computer.
part of Edu, right?
Yeah, this is all evolutionary spinal maintenance. Um, okay, so what I'm going to do is just, you can do this sitting down on a stool. You can do this anywhere where you can have this integral alignment of the spine. So if you want to try to do what we call the 3-stage core movement, it's just a little chorus. It's a movement we keep coming back to. So you're going to reach out in front of you like you're holding a ball and turn the ball. Doesn't matter which direction, but both of your thumbs should be facing the same direction. And what we're going to do is by keeping the spine upright and centered, we're going to take our hands and we're going to draw a figure 8 with long arms. And we're going to come down and across. And so my eyes are going to follow my hands. My arms are going to be long and trying to have no bent elbows. And every time that my left arm crosses my midline, I'm creating cross-modal communication in the brain. Because my left hemisphere controls my right hemisphere controls my left side of my body. And this has actually been done for a very long time to even help children with ADD and ADHD, doing movements that cross the midline. Because the patterns of our behavior and the way we respond and react to life have everything to do with the way information is being perceived and processed in the brain. But we have the ability to change how that is being processed in the brain through movement and through breath. And so a lot of these practices are designed to help you self-align, help you come back to your center and repattern the way you're perceiving and experiencing and expressing your life so that it's more balanced. It's more true to you. And that way you feel more aligned, you feel more inspired, and actually you feel more empowered, because the more that you're just caught in the rut of stress, fight or flight, the more you're actually perceiving the world through the lenses of predator-prey games. So even your friends and kids, everyone becomes a threat, like it could be a predator, and or vice versa. You could be the predator and turn into that sort of intensity in times, because that's the way the hindbrain works. That's the way this part of us works. When we get the more overwhelmed, the more stress, the more distortion, not only in the body, but in the way we're experiencing life and expressing it.
Yeah. I mean, when we practice yoga, it's very similar as well, right? I mean, because I'm coming from the yoga discipline where it's more reaction as opposed to being able to have clarity of action. Something
Yeah.
similar to that. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
after this, you guide people through Inu. Can you say that for me so I say it right?
In you.
Inu.
Yeah. In you. It's again, it's really a synthesis that has I've put together over the last 20 years of doing a lot of types of breathing work, a lot of dynamic movement, and also a lot of voice or authentic expression work. So in you, I call it in you, move, breathe, sound. So we move our body a lot of times in dynamic ways. We're like inhale and arch the spine forward, exhale, arch the spine back. And we do that to generate energy. And since we get stuck in one-sidedness, and stress is actually an expression of that one-sidedness, by moving the body through dynamics, so through one polarity to the other, and back and forth, and using your breath and using your awareness and being embodied, what we can do is it's sort of like biohacking. We can hack our way by through movement and breath and sound back into whole brain function. And so In You does this by getting us to move and breathe with mindfulness and really powerfully get energy moving in the body. And then there's often a type of breathing work with a lot of open mouth breath. And we might even be moving around the room or laying on our backs and building that breath energy in the body till you're buzzing and tingling. And sometimes things come up that are like, reframed by us moving and breathing differently. We start to see the situations in our life through new eyes. And then we get the opportunity in You to express authentically. Whereas, say, chanting or even speaking in normal words is very contrived, right? It's coming from this place of these are the right sounds. And there's a part of us that's still that baby that speaks in a primordial language that just wants to express authentically and genuinely what I'm feeling. So if I'm in a really intense situation, we've all had experiences where we were maybe told, hey, don't cry, or grow up, or man up, or, all these different ways in which we suppress ourselves or feel oppressed in the expression of what we're really going through. So Inu gives you a permission zone, a safe place to really just let that voice rip and open up to whatever is going on inside of you and give it a voice.
Jeffrey, will you officially lead us in a short Inu practice?
Yeah, we can do that by just taking some deep breaths. And let's go ahead and inhale and lift our arms up. And you can open your mouth as wide as you want. And just let the hands drop, letting the hands even slap the thighs, or you can lay on your back and do this. Inhaling. And if you can, let yourself open your mouth and let your voice come from your belly, from as deep down in your body as you can, and just see what's there. Is there any grunts or sounds or authentic expression that just feels like it would make you feel more real, more present in this moment, more like you're expressing what's going on inside? So there's like we're trying to create unification from what's going on inside and what's coming out.
Mm-mm. If you've just done that with Jeffrey, just give us a little chat and tell us how you felt. I mean, I always feel great even just doing that. I mean, it's just a release that sometimes is a hack for whatever part of your day you're in. I totally
Yeah.
agree with you and appreciate that so much. So, in your workshop that's coming up, and I want to share that information, you're going to be at Esalen. We've reopened with COVID safety and so forth and so on, all these adjustments so that everyone's still safe. What will we be doing? We'll be doing Edu and Inu. Anything else that you can give us a sneak peek about for your workshop that's coming up at the end of the month?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of that alignment, since we talked about values, the first part of the workshop is really discovering not only what is alignment, but the neuroscience behind it, the ways that you can impact it. And then it's actually a values determination process. So you could probably already figure out by some of the things I've shared about what inspires you the most, but there is a really brief set of questions that I have everyone ask themselves and come up with their top answers. And in the end, they end up with a hierarchy of values like, wow, this seems like the most priority, the highest objective in my life, the thing that fulfills me the most. And then I have a little process that it's kind of like when you do a math equation, how do I double check my answer? So then we really double check our answers, and then we put those into practice. So we do Inu, which really is cathartic in a way. It's healing and sort of allows us to have all of the places where we've been misaligned to come up and be revealed and integrated. And then we do Edu, which is really a balancing practice, a way to repattern the way our brains and bodies connect with our consciousness.
Mm.
And we all come together and we share. There's a few other little meditation practices that are very brief that I would like to give people to take home with them. And then there's this process of how do I bring what I've just experienced into my life and back into the world? Because if any of you have been to Esalen or a place like that, often it's just like,
Mm.
wow, oh my gosh, so much. And you go home and you get hit with like a harsh reality of, oh, my kids or my spouse or my job. And so part of the work is actually to create an integrative path into bringing this into your day-to-day life in a way that you can trust yourself enough where it's not going to you're not going to tear your life in half to do it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just baby steps many times that we can take.
Because it can be stress inducing to think, oh, I have to do all these things just to not be stressed, right? So we don't want that. A couple of questions for you. Well, first of all, I wanted to add Rachel said that she's feeling pretty lively after the Inu. So thanks for that, Rachel, and thanks for the offering. And Murasaki Kalo asks, will the workshop also be online? And I think some of our workshops are starting to be live streamed, but I'm not sure that yours is. Can you answer that question, Jeffrey?
Yes. Well, I am not sure as well whether this one will be live streamed, but I do know that an online version of this workshop has been produced, and we are looking forward to launching it in the near future. So I know that we will have that opportunity for everyone, and that's a big part of um, what I'm doing with Esalen to my best ability is seeing how we can reach a greater audience from wherever you are and create impact in lives all over the place, even when you can't get to 55,000 Highway 1.
Yeah, we're doing all that we can for that. A question from Joyce. Edu came out of Brighton Bush, didn't it? Question
Yeah.
mark.
So I have taught at Brighton Bush the last 19 years, and the founder of Edu did come to Brighton Bush right after he created where the work came to him. And it's been a part of Brighton Bush's daily well-being programs almost every day since 1987. So
Oh,
you're correct. And now,
wow.
yeah,
Thanks everybody for joining us here on Esalen Live and just Jeffrey, it's just so wonderful to have you guide us through some of these things and feel almost immediately the impact of what you're teaching. So again, Jeffrey's workshop, he is co-teaching. Can you share with us who you're co-teaching with?
yeah, Swirl Jordan Moore is my co-teacher. She's a fantastic facilitator and just brings in a lot that I can't as a man and she can as a woman. Just that feminine perspective and her capacity to hold the energy of the group is fantastic.
Oh. Well, if you've appreciated what Jeffrey has had to offer here on Esalen Live, throw a little emoji or a heart in the comment here so other people can be sure to see this as well and take advantage of it. So appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining us, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Christine. I really feel blessed to be here with you today.
Yeah,
And
we
I
feel
look forward
blessed
to
to
it.
learn so much from you. Have a great day, everybody.